Okay, this is the video competency for a surgical aseptic hand wash. It's a little bit longer than the medical aseptic hand wash, but we're gonna go ahead and get started. The beginning is pretty much the same. You wanna make sure that you have all your jewelry removed, okay? That your clothes are not touching at any point. This one's a little more difficult because we don't have great big goosenecked faucets and big sinks, but we can still do it. And that we have our paper towels ready and everything else here ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my surgical sponge. Inside we'll have a surgical sponge and a nail pick. We're going to need both of those things for this competency. Alright, so in the beginning, like I said, jewelry's off. I'm not touching the sink. I'm going to turn my water on and adjust it. Okay. So I'm going to start with wetting my hands. On this hand wash, you're going to keep your hands up the whole time, okay? So it gets kind of tiring, but we're going to start with rinsing our hands or getting them wet. So I'm going to start with my fingertips, and I'm going to go all the way through to my elbows this time. Fingertips to elbows without touching the sink. That's where it gets a little bit difficult. Now the first scrub, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my brush wet, and I'm going to put some soap on my brush, and I'm going to start scrubbing for a full minute. So I'm going to start with my fingertips in a circular motion, and I'm going to do up and down my pinky, up and down my ring finger, up and down my middle finger, up and down my index finger, and then I'm going to do the front of my fingers, the back of my fingers, because again, once I go down, I can't come back up. So the back of my hand and around my thumb, my palm. And again, this is a 1 minute scrub. So now I'm going to go all the way around my arm without going back up to any spot where I was earlier. So this takes about 30 seconds on each side. Okay? So now I'm going to do the other side. So I'm going to start with my fingernails, my pinky, up and down, up and down, up and down. And then scrub either the front or back. One side's a little harder to do than the other. On the back side, around my thumb. And I'm close to my 1 minute mark, but I'm already almost around my arm, so I'm going to scrub all the way to my elbow. I'm going to set down my brush, and now I'm going to rinse. Again, keeping your hands up, I'm going to start at my tips, my fingertips, and run all the way through to my elbow. Then do the other side, fingertips, hand, wrist, to my elbow. You don't have to completely rinse all the soap off at this point. Just make sure you have most of it off because we're going to scrub again. Now what I'm going to do, carefully, I'm going to take my nail pick and I'm going to clean under all 10 of my fingernails. Get it good. Scrape under each and every one of my fingernails because fingernails are where a lot of dirt and bacteria are harbored. So we're going to scrape all the way through there. And this guy. Okay, now I'm done with my nail pick, but I want to rinse again before I do my second scrub. So same thing, start at the fingertips. Don't touch anything, go all the way to your elbows. Don't touch the sink, don't touch the faucet, etc. So the idea is now that the garbage we just pulled out from underneath our fingernails, we just rinse that away. Now I'm going to do my second and final scrub. Okay, so again, I'm going to start on one hand, and this is a 2 minute scrub, so a full minute on each hand. Okay, so pinky, up and down, next finger. Front of my fingers, the backs of my fingers, down my hand, around my thumb, palm of my hand. Now I'm going to start heading down towards my wrist, all the way around, all the way to my elbow. Now I'm going to do my other hand. So starting with those fingernails. And then I'm going to go move on to my pinky, up and down and in between. Soap in my eyes. fingers done. So now I'm going to do the front and the back. Circular motion for all of this. The front of my palm, now down and around my thumb. Now the back of my hand. Now I'm going to proceed on down my wrist. And almost finished here, and I'm approaching my 2-minute mark. All right, so I'm finished. I'm at 2 minutes. So I'm going to set my brush down, and now I'm going to do a really good rinse this time because this is my final rinse. Again, not touching, starting at the fingertips and going all the way to the elbows, getting everything nice and clear and clean without touching. You want to kind of go slow so you can get all that soap off. You may need to do it 2 or 3 times. Okay, now I'm good and rinsed. Or maybe need a little more. And you're going to drip all over, and that's okay. Now we're going to pick up paper towels, and we're going to start at the top and work our way down. Again, never backtracking. Start at the top and pat all the way down. Now it's real important that your hands are really good and dry because we're going to do this prior to putting on sterile gloves. And if your hands or your arms are wet when you try and sterile glove, your gloves aren't going to go on so well. A couple more here and I should be done. Now, if while you're doing this, if any paper towels or anything fall into the sink, just leave them go. Don't get them. Don't worry about that later. Let somebody else get it, okay? So we're going to do the same thing as we did before to turn off the sink. I'm going to take a clean paper towel, shut my water off. I'm going to keep my hands up now. Don't finish this competency and go, okay, I'm done. You got to keep your hands up because now we would go to sterile glove, okay? And you need to complete that whole process in 10 minutes time or less.